Hey everybody, Brett from AstartesGaming here, back with another episode of our RimWorld Warhammer 40k Let's Play. So, everybody's mostly healed up except for Haro in the aftermath of that little scrape we had in the top left-hand corner of the map where the psychic ship was. And so, we are shaping up to be ready to go out on another raid. I'm not too sure what I want to do. We have the Haradni 13th here, which was, one base that I wanted to attack. I don't know that I feel too confident with what we have now, just because when we checked that place out, they had so many bolters. And we've seen what those bolters can do now that we have a few of our own. And that makes me real nervous about trying to go in there. But if we bring all of our fighters and some sort of orbital bombardment, there is a chance that we could be successful. However, a chance of being successful isn't really enough to build a plan around. So I'm going to give that a little bit longer and see how I feel about it. And in the meantime, I guess let's just get things moving, and we'll try to get some progress here. So what else do we have that we can make use of? Really nothing but a bunch of Tau weapons from our last little outpost raid. I was also thinking we should probably get some lighting in here. So I'm going to make that happen right now. How did I wrap them? I'll just mirror it over, I guess. How did I get those in there like that? Well, I guess it lets me do it, so I'll do it. 1, 2, we'll drop that in there. Keep these going, and I guess I can do that. 1, 2, put one in the corner. There we go. I don't know that I want to do that along this as well, but I guess for the sake of symmetry, I'll kind of do something similar. Like that. We'll put one there, we'll put one there. 1, 2, get another one in here. 1, 2. That actually worked out pretty well, considering I didn't plan the spacing of those. Managed to hit all the corners in pretty much the exact same pattern there, so that worked out. But anyways, we're gonna get that lit. Also, we can mine this out now. We don't need those now that we have these support beams in here. And we'll probably need a chandelier here and there just to supplement the light from these, because it's gonna light the perimeter really well, but in the middle we're gonna have sort of like a dark spot like we did here. And so, to that end, I'd like to get, something to deal with that. It's going to be a while before this is done with all that water, but in the meantime, I guess we can keep laying these down. And then, I need some steel grating here. Is that going to cancel the other blueprints? No, perfect. Alright, so there's that. There is that. So, news regarding 1.0. I think really the only thing holding us back at this point is going to be Yes Vehicles. The mod still hasn't been updated to 1.0, and apparently the author's having some trouble with it, which is unfortunate, but I would obviously like that to be a major part of our playthrough. It was a huge part of this one, and so given what we intend to do, which I don't know that I want to spoil it. I guess I'll just tell you guys, because you'll find out eventually. So I had a couple of ideas for Warhammer 40k themed RimWorld playthroughs, and I think at some point I'd like to implement them all, but the one I'm going to do first is going to be sort of like a Space Marine fortress monastery. And so I would like to be a little bit more aggressive than we were in this playthrough. Obviously, with Imperial Guardsmen, they're a bit squishy. We had to, really set up some elaborate defenses. But with an army of Space Marines, we can be a lot more mobile, I feel like. And so I'm going to try to do something Dawn of War themed. So I'll maybe bring in some Blood Ravens characters from the Dawn of War series as our starting Space Marine characters, and then we'll kind of build up a fortress monastery. And pretty much all of our characters are going to be Space Marines. Now, there's a caveat to that. We will have like chapter serfs and stuff, because not everybody that we bring on is going to be, you know, worthy of becoming a Space Marine, and not every job in our base is going to lend itself well to being done by a Space Marine. You don't necessarily need like a super soldier to you know, craft things. So might have a couple like tech priests and chapter serfs to handle that sort of thing. Maybe some servitors as well, from the prisoners that aren't worthy of recruiting. And I'll try to find... I at one point had a lobotomy mod that worked kind of similar to the idea of, you know, how they produce servitors in 40k. So I felt like that would work pretty well. I'll have to see if that ever made it over to 1.0. But I think that would be a lot of fun. However, we would want a variety of vehicles, so... drop pods or something that would be of a lot of use in that playthrough, but also if, yes, vehicles ever gets ported over, there's obviously different tiers of vehicles, and so having a few like rhinos or predator tanks would be nice, just to, again, allow us to be a little bit more mobile, because even if we're using drop pods, they would have to technically hike back home, or I need to get a wall in here. Or, you know, we'd have to send them in a vehicle or something. So, things to consider, regarding the other playthroughs, the Star Wars one was already kind of decided upon, because I'd been working on that for a while. And then the third one, because I wanted to have 3, is going to, I think, at least initially be the Jurassic Park playthrough, because that seemed to be the most popular of the ones that were sort of thrown out there. That one is also going to depend on, yes, vehicles, because we will need to be very mobile in that playthrough. Also, some of the other mods I was considering using in that playthrough are actually dependent on that mod, or they have it integrated into it as sort of like vehicles specific to those factions. And it's not that I necessarily want to use those vehicles, it's just that those mods aren't going to get updated to 1.0 until the framework is there for them. So we'll have to wait on that. But overall, let's get a conduit through here. Overall, I think things are getting pretty close to being ready. If I have to, I can start those, or at least the 40k playthrough, without, where are these? Without yes vehicles, and we can just kind of integrate it whenever it does get updated. But with the Jurassic Park one, again, some of the more integral mods are waiting on it before they get updated, and so I don't know that I can start that one without. But for the 40k playthrough, walking or using drop pods, I think, is sufficient, at least for a little while. And then later on, we can get the vehicles in there and, you know, do that stuff. So, I'm also waiting on a fairly big update from RimHammer. I think I mentioned that in the last episode. So, one of the authors in the comments told me that they are expecting a fairly large update soon, and I don't want to start before that. I have gone ahead and copied my own sort of version of it. So I went ahead and I downloaded it, took the texture file out, and I'm making some of my own custom textures just because I want my playthrough, as usual, to be kind of distinct. And so having some custom made stuff in there is generally how I do that. And since I'm using characters from Dawn of War, I figured I would try to, I think it's about time we do this. I figured I'd try to, you know, I guess replicate them as accurately as possible. So we'll see if I'm able to do that. And then I'll still be using the regular RimHammer stuff, just because it saves me a lot of time rather than having to... I had some Space Marine armor made in this mod pack, but it was never fully finished, and I don't know if I was ever going to get around to finishing it. So, again, using their mod just makes things so much easier for me. And I feel like their aesthetic matches the game a little bit better. I am really happy with how like these armors came out, but they stick out a little bit in the game, I think. Just because, you know, the game is kind of very flat in 2D, and then I used for all of these textures the miniature, like professional painted miniatures as sort of templates. And so that makes them very true to the tabletop and a lot of the you know, other sources, but I don't know that it lends itself to RimWorld quite as well. Did they get the conduits in there? They did. Let's link them up over here. I think creating a little square grid right there would be nice. I don't know that I need to run more than that. I could do one here, but that might not be necessary. Eventually these will carry on all the way to the wall. I don't know that this is going to be walled off. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to think on that, but it depends on how we're going to lay this out. I think at the very least we're going to bring a wall, but I already lit that. I'm not sure. I don't really need more bedrooms down here either, so that's another thing. It doesn't really need to be super closed off. Still have 3, 4 bedrooms here. These can become bedrooms if they need to, because there's frankly nothing else to use them for. We got a major break risk. Cashin is none too happy. She had to look at some corpses. What corpses were you observing? Were you over here working on this or something? Because I thought Daniel did that. Well, now that we have that there, what we can do is order them to come in and clear this out. So we can dig all that out and then replace it with a proper wall. I'm going to need to fill this in too. I don't know that... I guess I could just do that and kind of fill it in as we go. There's no point in leaving it open. That's just somewhere where bugs can spawn. So I figure we'll fill it in. Ren and Elarana are fighting. That's no good. Oh, she has a shield. That's kind of cheating, isn't it? I mean, they're in melee, so I don't think the shield's actually going to help. Okay. So they just bruised each other up a little bit, right? Well, let me grab Ren. There we go. Yeah, just cracks and bruises, nothing serious. That's good. How did that end up there? Let's get that hauled out of the way. But anyways, I think that'll be a lot of fun. I don't know, like I haven't been able to jump into RimHammer and see how things are implemented, but I don't know that the Space Marines have any augments or anything. I think it's just armor for aesthetic purposes, so I may have to combine that mod with the Warhammer 40k mods that I'm using in this playthrough, and I'll definitely tweak them so that the augments and stuff are far more realistic to obtain. But I don't, maybe some of you have experience with RimHammer. I know a lot of people were suggesting it, so I figure a few of you are playing it. So do the Space Marines have augments, or is it just armor? I'm sure the armor probably has some benefits beyond just basic armor, but obviously in the 40k lore, not only is power armor, you know, going to make the wearer stronger, but in the case of Space Marines, they're, you know, genetically engineered. Well, I don't know that you can say they're genetically engineered, because they're basically taking a person, stuffing a bunch of extra bits in them. It's not like they're growing these people in a vat or anything. So, anyways, the Space Marines are very highly augmented, and then they have one of those augments is, of course, the Black Carapace, which allows them to interface with their power armor and make that even more effective than it would normally be, because it's basically going to function as an extension of their body at that point. So you have super soldiers, powered armor, and the way to think about power armor in the sense of like the Space Marine power armor, or I guess any power armor in 40k, but obviously theirs is the most common example. But, you know, Inquisitors can have power armor too. The Sisters of Battle technically wear power armor. It's just, you know, a highly stylized version that looks a lot like a corset. But anyways, if you've ever seen the Crisis suit from, you know, Crisis 1, 2, and 3, basically picture that with a bunch of ceramite plates over it. And that's sort of how power armor essentially works. So the power armor makes the wearer stronger and more durable. And then obviously if you can interface that to the point where it's like a second skin to you, you're going to get a lot more use out of it. But if the mod, now that we're done with that tangent, if the mod doesn't have those augments, then it's only going to reflect the armor, and we'll have to find a different way to do that. Which can be done because it's already in this mod here. So if I have to, I'll overlap them and just kind of modify things so that, you know, there isn't a big mess when the two mods collide. But I'm pretty sure RimHammer has all the enemy factions. Yeah, it has most of them. It doesn't have Tyranids, so that might be something to carry over, and it doesn't have Chaos. So I'll have to look. I don't remember which enemies. In fact, let's look at the world map real quick. I'm fairly certain that all of the Chaos factions, whether they're Chaos Marines or Traitor Guardsmen, they are all part of the base mod. Because there's the add-on that adds a lot of the alien factions. But I think that Tyranids and Chaos are actually part of the original mod, and therefore we could just not use the add-on that covers most of the factions covered in RimHammer, and that would pretty much have all of our enemies there for us. Okay, finally these people are going and getting treated. Who's cooking steel? What the hell's happening right there? Whatever. It's easier for me to not think about what they're trying to do. Easier for me to just pretend I didn't see it. Okay, well, at least this is coming along. We're not getting nearly enough granite produced, though. I think in part because there's nowhere to put it. Also, this is becoming a real mess. I still don't fully know why this is happening. We're getting plenty of steel from it. But, obviously we're getting a lot more chunks than we need as well. Actually, we're getting silver, too. So we're getting some decent stuff out of here, still. It's not that we're only getting chunks, it's just that it's spewing chunks like crazy. I don't think we really need any more raw resources from that, though. We have almost 11,000 steel, so when this quarry runs out, I'm probably just going to turn this into a stockpile area or something. Because, frankly, I don't think we need any more of what this is pumping out. We've already got more chunks than I know what to do with. We've also accumulated a lot of las guns. So, I feel like I kind of just want to go attack that base. Even if it goes horribly wrong, I think I would rather do that than just kind of sit around here waiting for the next raid. So maybe in the morning we'll start picking people to send. It's going to have to be more or less everybody. Just because they're going to have so many people there with arguably better firepower. If we're short on numbers and firepower, there's really no way we can win. So we need to bring as many as we can. We need to be well set up. So maybe bringing some steel in the APCs just so that we can build sandbags. And then we could also try to bring a couple of these with us. I don't quite know if the firepower on these is better than, say, a las gun at penetrating the armor that they're going to be wearing. So it's hard to say whether it would be better to have one of these set up or just having somebody, you know, behind sandbags firing their las gun. I don't know if one is superior. Early on, it certainly seemed like these were better. Because when we had raids, the first couple of those seemed like they made a significant difference. But at this point, with all the far bigger guns that we've accumulated, it's kind of become hard to tell. We need to get all that wood inside before it deteriorates. And I would have liked to expand this too. I suppose it's not too late. So let's try to plan this out. So it would be 1, 2, 1, 2. So I guess we go right into the embrasures then, right? So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. And we can technically bring it all the way out to the corner there. Oh, we had another fight. Cashin and Harrow. God, everybody's at each other's throats recently. Anyways, we're bringing that on out. I think I'm going to do it all the way to the corner. I don't really see a reason not to. And that works out pretty nicely. And then I think we'll wrap this one around ever so slightly so that they can see a little bit better. Yeah, go get yourself treated. Then we'll need to fill in the gaps here. So, like that, and obviously that needs to be enclosed. This is going to be tricky, because I don't like the idea of having a one thick wall out here. Maybe it would have been better to just ignore that. Or better yet, let's get a little bit creative with the layout here. So get rid of all this. We have embrasures. Let's do something, whoops, like that. Then we can keep this like double thick out here, and they'll be able to see a little bit farther along. That's still technically only one thick though, so I might need to layer it up like that. And I guess I could make these embrasured as well. Whoa, what is going on with my mouse right now? Let's see, give me the cancel tool. Right about there is good. Okay, so I think that'll work just fine for us. We'll have to mine this out as well. Do everything except for... Yeah, it keeps staying clicked even though I'm not actually clicking. It's weird. Yeah, go ahead and mine all that out for me. And once we get everything laid in, I'll go ahead and remove this last little bit. But that way we don't vent this area, even though it's not nearly as temperature controlled as the interior of the base. Still better to, you know, prevent that from happening when we can. But I think that'll give us slightly better defenses out here. Not that we really needed them. I don't think we've ever really been tested out here. At least not since we've built these. We did have raids spawn in here, but I think that was back when this was just still sort of like a mountain cave area, and so they just ended up running through and attacking us here or something. If I recall correctly, but that was many, many episodes ago. Okay, so we'll get those on out of there. We'll have to move these as well. Alright, they're done with that. Let's grab these walls and we'll fill them in here. And right there. That should have been an embrasure. Why is it no longer one? Did I accidentally cancel that? It's possible. And I'll have to figure out the best way to implement a door there, but I don't think that'll be too much trouble. Okay, so these need to be walls as well. That should all be... Right? Yeah, this is all wall. Yep. Okay. So make that happen. And then we have limestone wall here. Let's just add a little bit of limestone wall there. And that's more or less it. They might wall themselves in here, so we'll need to be careful about that. But yeah, I'll just keep an eye on it, and obviously they just need to mine one of these through. Ah, I completely forgot. They want to buy a bolter. I don't feel like selling a bolter. Vanometric power cell would be nice, but I think the bolters are more use to me at this point. So I'm not going to do that. I did, however, forget that these guys wanted to buy those prosthetic feet, and we are ready to do that. So, you know what? Oh, it's like evening again already. We'll send them out in the morning. I'm just going to send a small team with the feet to go do that. And I'm just going to queue up this mining now. I didn't want to vent this area to the outdoors, but it's easier for me to just queue it up and pray that they don't wall themselves in. Although I think Remy just did that. Remy, if you want out, you should probably start mining here. But he did enclose this area, so technically we didn't end up venting it, which I guess works out. Oh, but Jackal's about to go do it. Jackal, don't bother with that one yet. Wait, Remy, what are you doing, man? Why won't you mine that one? And why can't I tell you to do it? I don't understand. Like, he got it right up to the edge, and then he stopped. Well, somebody will come along and finish it. It's just, that was the only one he needed to mine to get out, and he stopped doing it. Okay. So there we go. We'll need to get concrete floors in there, too. So, let's see. It's going to be here. I didn't bother with... Oh, yes, I did. Okay, never mind. Well, run them all the way to the end there. Oh, I'm stupid. I was talking about not wanting to vent this to the outdoors, but then I completely neglected to realize that there are embrasures all along this. And so I guess I'll probably need to turn this into its own separate room. And yeah, we'll just dig this out now. There's no point in waiting. This does need to get filled in. And then we'll probably just build like a wall right here. Yeah, we'll just build a wall there and put a door on that. So let's grab this, drop one in here and one in there. And that encloses that enough and also keeps this from being completely exposed outside air. So this should be a little bit cooler than, say, the outdoors. I could also put a vent here, but I don't necessarily like the idea of that. If anything, I'd have these on their own cooling system, but I don't think it really matters. Nobody spends any significant time in there. So it should be okay as it is. And let's just make sure this is all going to be concrete floors. Okay. We're good. So there's our full defenses now that that's been cleared on out. I'm going to ignore this area up here, although if I was really concerned about these walls being breached, what I could do, well, first of all, I wouldn't have these, like, crenellations or whatever, because, you know, a sapper can sit in here and be covered, but if I was concerned about that happening, obviously these would be flat, and then I could build just like a little corner observation post here that could fire down along the wall. But I don't think that's going to be an issue. None of the 40k factions use sappers, so it's really not anything to concern yourself with. And I can't even remember the last time we were raided by normal humans. I don't think it's happened since we started getting raided by the 40k factions. So, another thing we need to do over here is go ahead and run conduits through all this. I'm going to have to cheat those in with God mode, probably. I don't know why. This just seems kind of arbitrary. I wish they would remove it. Because if you use the dev tools, you can still place in here and it doesn't have any adverse effects. I guess it's to try to keep you from, like, gaming the system and preventing anything from spawning on the map. Because I guess, in theory, what you could do is just not leave any open space. If that makes any sense. Here, I'm going to do it now so I don't forget. Options. Give me a conduit. There we go. And I'll have to remember to, like, delete 4 steel or something. Not that it really matters when we have 11,000. But what you could do is, if you were able to build along the edge of the map, you could effectively block all the spawn areas and just prevent yourself from ever being raided, or really getting guests for that matter. But I don't know why you'd want to do that, so I don't know that it's really something that the devs need to actively try to prevent you from doing. And if you want to do that, I don't see why not in a game like this. That would be a huge undertaking to accomplish that. Like, so why would you connect there? There's perfectly good conduits right here. Sometimes I don't understand the logic in that reconnect function, because it tends to jump to things that don't have power when there are perfectly good areas closer that do. Which is strange. But, yeah, in a sandbox game like this, you know, who cares if you do that? If that's what you want to do to defend yourself, then why not? It would take you so many resources to fill that whole area all the way around the map that I feel like if you could accomplish it, then again, more power to you. Like, that is quite the project that you just accomplished. And it's not like mountains don't already do that naturally. So you're never going to find a map that's completely surrounded by mountain. But we have maps that we're actively playing right now where like two full sides are blocked and the better part of a third by mountains. So it really limits spawn area. And I don't see a problem with that. I do not see a problem with that. Okay, so it is late morning. Let's get our team together and get these feet delivered. So, Zima, Bragg, and I'm not going to send a bunch of people, I don't think. Remy, what are you doing? You're building walls. Zarena, what are you doing? Cleaning. Okay, it's just going to be you three, I think. We don't need a bunch of people to deliver these. So long as we're not, like, ambushed, we're not going to see any fighting. If we are, I think 2 bolters and a lasgun can handle it. They're all in carapace armor, too. And we will get a new set of carapace armor for this, so we'll have to decide who is worthy of it. I might give it to Daniel or somebody. Eventually these people were intended to be Space Marines, but at this rate, I don't think we're ever going to see that happen in this playthrough. That's also part of why I chose to do the Fortress Monastery next, because I did want to have Space Marines in a playthrough. And unfortunately, this one doesn't appear to be the one, so the next one will be. Let's bring that. Let's see. 2.8 days. Let's bring a little extra. That'll put us at 550. And that is 5 days, which is far more than they need. But that's okay. Should I bring some medicine? I don't think that's really something that we'll need to do. We will bring extra chem fuel as usual. A full tank's worth, so 200. And we need the feet. That's going to be hard to find, so give me a second here. Okay, so I've got all that taken care of, and then we're going to be leaving to the southwest, which is more or less the direction of the destination. Now, I don't know if that's the best vector for us to leave from necessarily, but that's the way we're headed, so that's what I'm going to go with. So let's lock that in. Southwest is probably fine, yeah. Okay, so they're going to take care of that. I'll have to toggle them so that they actually do it. And I really hope that they get this mod ported over to 1.0, because I'm using my like semi-broken version, I guess you could call it, where only the actual vehicles work, and obviously they don't work perfectly. But the mod is supposed to have functioning turrets on the vehicles as well, and we were never able to get that working. But the Beta 18 version that came out later, I believe, did, and so if they can make that work for 1.0, that would be fantastic, because this is like such a useful mod. And I really think it should be part of the actual game. Vehicles just in any capacity, I feel like, would add a lot to this. Don't attack it. Okay. So let's just go visit. I think this is probably the first caravan request I've ever fulfilled. Generally, I don't bother. I guess Tigress, we should have gotten her some carapace armor. I guess we could give it to her, yeah. Because she should really be the one going on these missions. In fact, I don't know why she's using an M16 when we have so many las guns. Do me a favor and equip that. And I do have an extra carapace helmet, so I think what I'll do is get her in full carapace armor and just start using her as one of these. I should have done that a long time ago, honestly, because there's really nothing for her to be doing at the base. She's strictly a fighter. And so she should have been one of the people going on these missions because, you know, Remy could be crafting, Bragg could be building, Zima could be crafting, Zarena, I think Zarena is mostly just cleaning, but she has other jobs as well. Where are you, Zarena? Let's see. I know that's not the only thing she was doing. Is she not going to show up right now? Yeah, she's not going to show up in here right now. That's fine. We'll just do this. So... Nah. It's not going to make it easier for me to look at it right now, so I'm not going to worry about it. Are they already there? Wow. It's going to be slow going through here, though, I think. Because that's a mountain right there. But they are moving at a pretty good clip. We have an exotic goods trader. Let's take a look at their wares, because they are the ones that potentially might have gene seed. Not that we'll probably ever get to use it at this point, but we've been hell-bent on finding it for this long, so let's just keep on that. And yeah, here's where they slow down. Oh, and a bulk goods trader, so we'll have her look at both. I don't think bulk goods is gonna have anything we want, though. Okay, so there we go. Let's see. They have cougars. We could buy cougars. I don't have any real use for them, though. Eutromine. They have components at a very unreasonable price. More Glitter World medicine. Well, if we're never able to find gene seed, I'll just throw the rest of my money at that. What else? What else? What else? Flake. A lot of drugs. I have really not been using plasteel. They have a 25mm chain gun. I don't think I would mind having that. And those are our stolen gene seed. I'm not seeing any. Nope. Okay, so we'll just take that turret. Those chain guns are pretty nasty, so I'm happy to have another. And wait, Murgo, don't take off yet. Go talk to the bulk goods trader. They're probably not going to have gene seed. They don't generally deal in stuff like that, but they might have other things that we want. No, they don't even have hyperweave. Not that we ever got around to using it, but some of the more advanced, what do you call it, like tissue generation stuff required that, and so we were trying to accumulate some, and then we just kind of gave up because it was difficult to get in enough quantity. Iron Halo, Void Shields. Yeah, nothing. Oh well. How are you guys doing? You'll get there soon. Okay, so they'll be popping on in there any second now. And we'll have to, let's see, fulfill trade offer. I guess we don't even need to go in. I'd kind of like to see their base though, but let's do that first. So make that happen. And then, oh, I can trade like this, but I really wanted to see what their base looked like. You don't happen to have any gene seed, do you? They have some power armor. There's the one we just got. Imperial statue. That's very expensive, though. Let's see. Paintings. I'm surprised the power armor. They have 6 of them. Wow. Well, we can technically still wear this, can't we? I guess, you know what? We have what, 4 prospective Marines? They have 6 sets of armor? And I can afford it. No, I can't. I didn't bring any silver. Ah, damn it. Can we take it on credit and I'll bring it back to you? Alright, well, they're not too far away and we know that they have this. So what I'm going to do is load up a bunch of silver into an APC and come back. We'll buy 4 of those. Throw our people in them. They're not going to be actual Marines, all the augments, but they'll at least have the power armor. And then they only have 1 helmet, so I don't know if I'll bother. And plus, my texture is apparently not in the right file path. So, unfortunately, I can't actually do that right now, but that is something I think we'll come back and do. I think that's definitely worth doing. I'm not going to settle here, so you guys just head on back home. And we will definitely come back for that armor. Because we want one for Gorilla, we want one for Daniel, one for Larry. And I guess I was considering Tigress 2. But we'll see. At least 3. Alright, well, I've managed to turn this into a 40-minute video, so I guess I'll go ahead and end the episode here. I'll try to do as much of the waiting for the caravan as I can off camera, because I know that's kind of boring for you guys to sit through. But I think we'll be able to get ourselves some power armor, and then maybe we'll go after that base, and we'll have to start wrapping this up soon. I think we'll probably get to like episode 75, maybe 75 will be the last one. This is 73, I think. I don't know if that'll be enough time, we'll see. But definitely between 75 and 80 is where this will come to an end. I don't see us going beyond that. So thank you so much for watching. I had a great time playing some RimWorld with you, and I look forward to seeing you guys back here for the next episode.